Why is everyone starting to leave ChatGPT? To understand the story behind the possible downfall of this artificial intelligence, we have to go back to the beginning. And at the beginning of this story, there was ChatGPT's direct competitor, Claude. Claude is developed by a company called Anthropic. At one point, Anthropic was negotiating a contract with the US Department of Defense, the American military. But there was a problem with the contract. Anthropic said they did not want to share their users' confidential data with the US military. On top of that, they didn't want their technology to be used to create autonomous AI weapons that could potentially cause millions of deaths around the world. This debate started appearing in the media, and political pressure began to grow. But on the other side, OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, reached an agreement with the Pentagon. When the partnership was announced, people asked an important question: did you also demand that user data must never be used? And the answer from OpenAI was surprising. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, gave an answer that raised a lot of eyebrows. The issue with Anthropic was simple. They wanted the contract to clearly state, in writing, that the US military would never access their users' confidential data. The military refused. But with OpenAI, things were different. Sam Altman reportedly had discussions with the Pentagon, and they told him something like this: "Sam, we promise we won't touch your users' confidential data. But you have to trust us. We just won't put it in the contract." And Sam Altman said something interesting. He said he chose to assume they were sincere, and that they weren't actually trying to access users' private information. So, he signed the deal. Now here's where things get interesting. Normally, the uninstall rate for the ChatGPT app on platforms like the Play Store or Apple's App Store is around 9%. But after this news came out, the uninstall rate reportedly jumped to almost 300%. At the same time, installations of Claude AI increased by 89%. But in reality, this story is also about you and me. Because let's be honest, ChatGPT is an incredible tool. I personally use it for work, but also sometimes for personal reflection. Sometimes when I don't understand people's reactions. Sometimes when I'm thinking deeply about things in my life. And over time, I developed a sense of trust. Because when you share things that are personal, that trust is built on confidentiality. But when I heard about Sam Altman's decision trusting the US military without putting it in writing, something changed for me. It felt like a breach of trust. And betrayal is a strange feeling. When betrayal comes from an enemy, it creates anger. But when betrayal comes from someone you trusted, it creates something different. It creates deep disappointment. And that disappointment slowly turns into disconnection. Because when trust breaks, people instinctively step away. And maybe that explains why uninstall rates suddenly exploded. But the real lesson of this story goes much deeper. Because this isn't just about AI. It's about human relationships and business. Every relationship starts with trust. Whether it's with a person, a company, or a product. At the beginning, that trust is fragile. But over time, it grows. People start letting you into their daily lives, into their private thoughts, into their world. Just like I did with ChatGPT. But the moment people feel that their values are being betrayed, that trust collapses. And when trust collapses, people leave. This is why, when you build a business, or when you build relationships with people, you must stay aligned with your values. Because the day you betray your own values, people will slowly walk away. Your reputation will collapse. Your business may collapse. Everything you built can fall apart. But if you remain loyal to who you truly are, then you can achieve the impossible. And only you can do that. Now let's move from theory to practice. Through this story, I realized something important. There is one fundamental pillar for success in life. Whether it's in relationships, or in business. And that pillar is loyalty. That's why I want you to write one word in the comments. Loyal. Yes, write loyal. When you write that word, you're making a moral contract with yourself. A promise that in your business and in your relationships, you will stay aligned with your values, even when a huge opportunity appears in front of you. Let me give you a simple example. I once received offers from sports betting companies. They were offering huge amounts of money. For a moment, I hesitated. I thought about what I could build with that money. But then I remembered why I created my brand in the first place. My goal was to help people improve their lives, to help them become the best version of themselves. And I asked myself a simple question: do sports betting companies really help people become their best selves? In my opinion, no. I believe they destroy people's lives. So when I faced that massive offer, I chose my values instead. Because if I had accepted it, I would have betrayed the people who trusted me. And that's why when you walk through this world, you must stand firm. You must stay loyal.